Hi everyone and welcome back to a new segment with me, Shruti. In this video, I want to speak about the Pleiadian Gateway that we are walking through right now. So what this is that, the sun is in alignment with the Pleiades constellation and it's at galactic degrees. So this happens twice a year. It happens in May and I think in November as well. When it's in Taurus and Scorpio, which has to do with the Pleiadian mark. So what's happening is that those of us who are related to Pleiadian missions and lineage, we are being activated, and it's a very potent time for those who are of this lineage. And we have gateways all the time, like we have the ones that are more astrological. Every month we have full moons, new moons, and other transits. But when we have these more galactic, gateways, then it can really activate a lot. So all of us are experiencing this, at some level. And I wanted to share a bit about what's happening. So I'm going to be giving some examples from what's happening with me, and so you can just see if it relates to your life and how it does, because bringing awareness into what's going on, it can activate us deeper. So let's begin. I just have some notes over here and I'm going to be referring to them because with these activations, because they're quite intense, so I've actually my body is still integrating, and I have this constant, like you can say, headache, because it's kind of like these new pathways are opening up when it comes to higher communication, and we'll get more into that. So the thing about the Pleiadian Gateway, whenever it happens, is that things get wrapped up, and also new things begin. So it's a time when significant shifts happen. So for example, before you came into incarnation, if you had this mission in this lifetime to serve the ascension of the planet, then there's certain rites of passage that can open up, and it was kind of like pre-decided, you can say, in a way, that you would be activated at this time, and it might even be reflected in your astrology chart. But most of the people that I know, from my soul family that I met, it was during these gateways, that they came in or that they left, when we parted ways as well. But it was the beginning of a new cycle, like a more empowered cycle for me, whenever that happened. And also I remember that the first time when I decided to, I think it was about 3 years ago, when I first quit my job, because we had these old jobs that I had a teaching job, for example, and then I decided to really, move deeper into my ascension and actually embrace it, then that also happened in November, because this Pleiadian Gateway, it happens in May and in November. So this always marked a very potent time for me, and for all of us who are of this lineage. So first I want to talk about the ascension symptoms that are going on, in relation to this time, and what I've been feeling about 2 days ago, 2 nights ago. It was just this how I felt my guides coming in. And when you are integrated at a certain level, you will feel your guides all the time anyway, because you have this connection to the white ascension column, and you've already anchored it, so you are connected to your higher self, your I am presence, and through that white light column. But during these gateways, it can be really potent. So I remember how it was just a more vivid experience, and it's kind of like in that experience of meeting my guides, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's kind of like there was a lot of holding going on. So all of these parts of you that were maybe a lot of questions that you had, some things in your life that felt a bit stuck, or thoughts that were playing over in your head, it seemed like all of them at once, they were just finding integration. And this can be expressed in different ways. So how I experienced it, for example, was it's kind of like I was just holding space, and this aspect of me was the one that was asking questions, or feeling a certain way, and my guides were just giving me these answers that really anchored me back in the now, and just in this state of like a greater wholeness, in this state of grace. So because this state of grace is when we give up that struggle, and it's this complete surrender to divine will, and there's no sense of trying to make something happen, or worrying. You are in the moment, and that's it. And when you are present, you will see, you will feel how there's just no need for this, that it's kind of like the puppet and the puppeteer, you and your I am presence, they become one. And you'll see how just things just flow effortlessly, and you just need to basically be there, and it's kind of like cosmic forces, the divine just works through you. And so with our lower mind, sometimes we want to control things, and we have these things in mind that we want to do things a certain way, and there's no need for us to be in that constant struggle. So any of those kind of things that were still lingering on, they become whole in the white light. So this kind of holding is going on, that is anchoring us back in our center. Then the other thing that's happening is that these new pathways are opening up of receiving divine guidance. So whenever we have these intense, let's say, not proximity, but intimacy with our guides, through any gateways, then you will feel how there's this fire energy just flowing through you. And for me, I feel it as like a burning sensation. It's almost feels like a physical sensation. And it enters through the crown, and it'll be through the whole spinal column. And so for me, I was experiencing it at the back of my neck, and here, as well as it almost feels like you're just lighting up from within. It's like you're a light bulb. One of those light bulbs, like lamps, where you just turn up the dial, and it feels like that. Like my eyes are just becoming wider and wider, and I can't even close them. So this is when the light quotient in your cells is increasing in this way. And so when we hold the space for this, like you will feel it when your guides want to communicate with you, they want to come in, and you make the space for it, then this light quotient can penetrate into the physical vessel. So these are some of the ascension symptoms that you might be experiencing. And when higher light quotient travels through us, then it integrates with the body. And during this integration process, you might be more tired than usual. And I've even, it's kind of irregular, because like one day I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was full of energy. But then the other day, then I just I slept longer than usual, and I woke up feeling really tired. And it's also because your body is just doing a lot of work in your sleep, and it's normal with ascension symptoms. So we are always guided to take better care of our bodies during gateways like this. Drink lots of water, eat healthy, eat light, and because this can make the whole process smoother. Then the next thing that's happening also is these gifts that are coming through. And again, this is a theme that always you might experience an acceleration of just what you are meant to be birthing, as a soul, what your innate gifts are. And the ones that are coming through now, they really have to do with our core self. Because like I was saying, this is a really galactic activations that are going on. So at a galactic level, at a core level, what your frequency is, those gifts are coming to light at the level that we are ready to work with them now in the physical. So for me, for example, what's opening up is this frequency of like a teacher, an ascension guide. And suddenly out of the blue, I was guided to start making these courses, ascension courses, and it's not really something that I'd considered before. So and now, once that was anchored, then all of these ideas suddenly just came through. And it was like it feels like you are drawing like a broad map. And then yesterday, more of that came through, and I actually have like a more precise plan. I know what to do, and now I just need to take action and kind of go ahead with it. So this feels really exciting when we work with our core frequency, and when you hit that exact note, because these gateways can really open that up, that precise thing that brings us joy, and that is our frequency. And when we actually find that and we allow for it to flow through, then it feels really fulfilling as well. And it's what anchors prosperity on all levels, whether it's this abundance that we feel inside, the love that we feel, or whether it's physical support. So that's another thing that's happening, is that these gifts are opening up that come from the levels of truth that come from your core self. And then the other theme also that's been happening is reconciliation in relationships. So for example, I remember that a year ago when we had the same gateway last year, I remember that there were some changes going on in relationships, and many of us were like parting ways from others that we were close to, even members of our soul family, our secondary soul family, and what was needed was for us to empower ourselves within our own frequency, because we have these different waves in our ascension, and at one point we will need to be more by ourselves, you can say, so that we work with our own frequency, and we kind of anchor that frequency in the physical. And then another phase later comes in, when we are ready to open up, become more vulnerable, and invite others in, and it's kind of more the frequency of co-creation and divine mirroring, how we kind of how somebody else mirrors our divinity to us, and it reveals something new about us as well that wants to be birthed. So we might be finding these reconciliations that are happening in our relationships. Maybe some people are coming back from before, because now you are empowered in a way that you weren't before. So you're ready to co-create at a new level. Maybe that wasn't there before. And it's not always old people coming back, but just this frequency means that there will be like a return of love in one form or another. So it might just be increased intimacy with the camera is moving because of the wind. You might be experiencing increased intimacy, with the friends and the relationships that you already have. And so the energy for that is supported now, and it's basically a potent time when these soul contracts that we were destined to meet, these people, they come in and leave. So then the other important thing that's going on is that we are being grounded in our own unique frequency. So maybe there's some parts of our mission and our purpose that have to do with just how we are as a soul and our frequency that we didn't embrace. So I want to give you an example just to make this clear. So for example, for me, my frequency is of a pillar. So my main frequency is to ground higher light, because I've also opened myself up to this level that when any higher codes come in, then they go through me, and they it has to do with the crystalline grid and grounding those grounding that higher light, and in the creation of the new earth. So my guides always remind me that my main purpose is to just be, is, that are incarnated here just, to be. Because we always have this, we can kind of be hard on ourselves, and we always want to do something. We measure things by how much we produce and how much we do, and sometimes it also has to do with the expectations that others around us have of us. So I always had this feeling, that came up from time to time, that I'm not doing enough, so especially as a guide, for example, just in my sharing. But I found that, whenever these higher codes come in, immediately I know when they're traveling through me, but my body is always engaged in this process, like a tree. It anchors higher light, and it it converts it into oxygen, and then it's available to others, to sustain life on the planet. So it's something like that, and we all work with our own unique frequency. But I found that, every time that I try to kind of make it, kind of push it or control it, it didn't happen. But gradually over the years, little by little, I've been sharing more and more. So this now, this gateway marks a new phase in my life as an ascension guide, where I've been guided to make these courses available. So it's a brand new significant opening. So just like this, in your life as well, something will be kind of wrapping up, closing, and there'll be a shift. You might be opening up to a new level. So our guides are really working with us to anchor, this respect and patience for our own frequency, for our own self to unfold in its unique, beautiful way. Because, many of us, as we go through our different integration phases in our ascension process, and this deep, integration work that we do in our higher service, all of us have felt kind of not seen for what we are at some level, those parts of us that still feel that way. And this is because each of us has a completely unique frequency, and nobody has the exact same frequency. So these feelings can be there where we feel not completely seen for what we are. And of course this is because we need to further embrace ourselves just as we are ourselves. And the moment that we do even a little bit of that, we go into that space and we have that compassion, that unconditional love for ourselves. When we open that up even a little bit, then we will see how these higher aspects of us, that we call our guides, maybe our higher self, our I am presence, and our guides in spirit, they will be there, bringing these messages of just motivation and encouragement, telling you how proud they are of you. So just make space for that. A lot of this beautiful holding is taking place now, and we just need to allow that space of unconditional love. So further about this, what my guides were also saying to me is that sometimes because we came as advanced souls, and it's kind of like we are way ahead of our time, because this is still the early stages of ascension, the ascension waves waking up and coming into their empowerment. But we kind of hold the light for the masses in this way, and often we can feel like things are too slow for us, and we don't always understand this, we don't always recognize that, and we can feel like so for instance, let me give you an example. So for instance, I get these feelings of how my environment, for example, doesn't match my frequency. So I always wanted to live in the mountains, because it's pure, and the food that we get there and everything, is just at this different level than living in a city. But I'm here because this is my higher service, and this is what is needed for the now. And the higher will always knows this, and we don't always at a human level, but we can have these moments of frustration where we feel like things are not moving fast enough, And then sometimes, we can go within and have blame for ourselves, or we blame ourselves in a way that we weren't able to create something, for instance. And this is where our guides are reminding us, that that it's not about us, because we can keep telling ourselves that, and then we start believing it, and then we believe that we no longer believe that we are these limitless creators. But whereas the truth is, is that we have these moments because we are these advanced souls, and you are holding the light for everybody else. So really work with this unconditional love for self and really recognize this, your own divinity. So that's it from me. I hope that this video was helpful for you, just to bring to your attention what's going on now, because when that's brought to our attention and we recognize it, then that deeper potential can unfold in us. And since I last made a video, I've added this new service to my blog, so you can check it out on my blog. The link will be below. It's these ascension guidance readings. So the main purpose of these readings is to focus on where you are in your ascension. So when I work through spirit, then it brings these messages of because there's different stages in our ascension. It's not just about divine love and unconditional love and all of these things that are popular in the new age community and in these ascension sharings. There's these key stages to our ascension process, and having this awareness of where we are in our ascension process and what's being activated now. When we have this awareness, when this remembrance is ignited in us, then it can really accelerate that process. So you can check it out. It's on my blog. And that's it from me, and I'll see you next time.